Welcome on in, everyone. Woo! Podcast time. All right. So for those that are going to be joining us live, thank you for coming in. We are starting a little bit earlier this week. Platinum has some personal things that she needs to do, so we want to start a little bit so that way she can run her normal life. But we also want to talk about WandaVision while it was still more current. But it will also be a shorter stream for that. But thank you for joining in. With me today, introduce yourselves. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, I'm Platinum for everyone.
It's fun to see who's going to take the initiative there.
I was looking at Elliot.
I always get yelled at.
Not even. When
I
have
get
we
yelled
yelled
at
at you?
every time. It's always like, oh, we go by the order that they're on the screen and Plat's in the bottom left.
What do you mean? I've literally never said this.
No. When it ends, me and him get into a side thing, and I'm like, you know better, Blind. No.
I was looking at Elliot like body language, trying to distinguish with like a half-second delay of Discord whether or not he was gonna talk.
I just throw you guys to the wolves. Like, go.
No, I love it.
One
It's
day
a fun
we'll have
little
this
game.
planned. Just
Nah.
one day in the future.
All right.
Nobody likes playing.
Blindside, we interrupted you. Who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a variety streamer from England. Do you have like a spiel? Do you do one of those spiels on stream?
I do.
Like I always like when you get raided, it's like, hi everyone,
Yeah.
Buzz UK. You call me Elliot. I'm a variety streamer from the southwest of England. Like I just
Yeah, absolutely.
and just brain just rolls it off. Yeah,
Wolves does it.
yeah.
No.
Wolves gets raided and he just goes like, and then like hits a BRB screen.
Panic going to the...
Yeah, I go, hi, my name is Platinum or Plat, whatever you prefer. I play lots of games. I get the Platinums, and I also do art. I make emotes and all that jazz.
You do. Are there any streamers you've may have made some emotes for that stream on Twitch?
None of them have no, so...
That's true. No.
Well, because I made both your guys's.
No one of note. No arguments.
No, I made a lot of people's emotes. So it's a good time, including your guys's. So yeah.
Fun
I love
fact.
my
time.
little baby boys.
So WandaVision.
So WandaVision. You know,
That
actually, let's not
transition.
talk about it this week.
That's fair.
I almost considered like when we started, like once we got past the introductions, just like launching a subject and just keeping you guys off WandaVision. For like, as
I
long as,
honestly
like,
would have been fine. I feel like it's fun to talk about the series as a whole now, but this episode in particular was just like, okay.
Well, I mean, we have 2 episodes because it's been 2 weeks.
That's
true. We have the reveal episode and then this episode.
Both of them didn't require like a lot of conversation. Now, of course, I say that and we'll probably talk about it for the whole time, but like there wasn't like a lot of, because like the mystery's over, you know, like answers. So it's like there's not a lot of like, what does this mean? And theories and da-da-da. Like now the theories are, where is the MCU going? Which is very, very, very general. So it was kind of interesting. I can talk about how like Marvel doesn't want to go full in on like this weird, like different space and time, or like a different direction, and do something weird and interesting and kind of more art house that not everybody would like appreciate. They like really were like, okay, we're gonna lead with that, but we're gonna bring it back and make sure everyone's pleased.
Yeah, just bring it back in Marvel movie.
Marvel back. We're doing the Marvel movie. Like we're doing the big CGI fight that looks terrible. We're
gonna have
like,
a load of SUVs in a row. They always have SUVs in a row.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but Marvel loves rows of SUVs.
I was amazed by how quickly they abandoned that camp when like Hex started open. Like Woo's standing there and it's desolate. Like you definitely have some techie guys who are not frontline soldiers. Like they just just
it's like some
completely
dude started, like tightening something, and he just hears screaming. He's like, "What is going on out there?"
What's up? Yeah.
Like FBI shows up,
funny.
Woo's just standing there in an empty base. I'm like, no, there'd be somebody left behind. Like they're just not gonna like all leave.
Oh my gosh. So when this is like, okay, we're jumping around, but when Wanda was like opening the hex, like just to get the people out, and then it like closed again and it did a shot of Woo. I'm like, Woo is literally always on the outside of this hex. He's never on the inside.
Nah, he doesn't want to be.
It was
he's
funny.
made good decisions. Like, he was
like
just
literally, he didn't
fine.
get sucked in right at the beginning when he saw it, and then when it expanded, he was able to get out of it. And then when it opened, he was like, "I'm not going in." And like literally, everybody he was with at the time, they went in those situations.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny to have that little shot of Wu just standing on the hillside, being like, "I wonder what's going on in there." Like,
because again, at this point, he doesn't actually know that Rambo survived going in again.
Exactly.
He
like,
just knows it was messing with her DNA. He's like, no.
Exactly. His space of mind is just like, well, I hope it goes well, I guess. Like, I did what I wanted to do, which was watch Monica run in there and say no, and now I don't know what's going on. It was just such an interesting story from his point of view.
Yeah.
I think his character might be my favorite in the whole series.
Oh, he's a joy.
Like, literally just the whole time he's like, I'm gonna make good normal people decisions. Like, he's the only person in like any Marvel movie that was like, oh, gunshots and stuff, I'm gonna stay over here. Like, oh, magic battle, safe distance, probably.
Giant radioactive field with super villains and heroes inside. No, I'm gonna wait for the cavalry.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with observing from a distance. It's all right.
It'd be great if you saw him like get out some binoculars and be like, oh, hey.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like you couldn't see through. Oh no, you could see through the barrier, but it wasn't what was happening on the other side.
Yeah.
So
I will say I'm a little upset with how like evil Agatha's character seems to be. I fully admit I don't know a lot about her characters, but like I know she like helps the Fantastic Four and like stopped her son from being evil and like
right. So she's like she can do both. Like depending on the writer, she'll like kind of play that line of evil because she was a Salem witch to you know, caring because she was a Salem witch and she understands being ostracized. So like it's like you could do either, you know, either, and they decided to go like full in. Yeah, and I was like, oh.
Like there's the moment where I thought they were gonna redeem her character when she's like, now you know you can't keep them alive and free the people. Like you, hero or villain, you got to pick one. So I was like, oh, it's like she was tough loving this. She was I thought they were gonna have like tough love Wanda and have her not like necessarily be the superhero person, but not just sort of evil. Then she's like, I got your powers. I lied, bitch. Like.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. And like, it was like the same thing for but less veiled. But like it was the same thing for when they were going through all the memories, you know, 2 weeks ago. It's like she very outwardly was her therapist, like was Wanda's therapist, but she did it in a very like, I just want to learn your secret. But I was like, this is actually very healing though. You're like you are inadvertently really helping Wanda right now. Like,
yeah, that's where I thought they were going to go with this. I thought they were going to go the tough love route, and like, while Agatha's not necessarily all that good, she's not evil either. She's just like, like some magical thing happened. I came to investigate. Things are kind of fucked up, so I just was like, nah, like.
Yeah, because even with her introduction in Salem, when her own coven is like, you don't fit in with us.
Yeah.
And you are doing evil things. And she was like pleaded with her mom, and the mom was just like, nope. I was like, oh. Yeah. That I don't care how evil you are. I feel like that would hurt. And it's like, and so I thought they were going to go down that road as well. And it seems like they aren't, at least right now. I think they could like retcon some things later and create more of an arc where she is totally this like you never know what side she's going to be on, kind of like Loki. I think they will do that. I'm glad they kept her alive. I was really afraid they were going to kill her, and I was like, please don't. You have barely any good villains. Like, please keep your good villain alive. So they kept her alive, so I'm like, all right, she'll be back. So we'll see like where her arc goes from here. Yeah,
I'll be interested. Like they had the one little line like when she did the wards on the wall, which I didn't see coming. I was like, is she trying to destroy the wall? Like, what's she doing? And then the wards popped up. I was like, okay.
I was like, Wanda, you are wild.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? I was so confused.
But she had that little.
Pick that up.
Yeah, but she had that little line like, you did teach me something. I was like, okay, that kind of pays homage that Agatha's supposed to be the instructor teacher. But like, they still went full bore like, yo, bitch is evil.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like she definitely, because like that whole conversation of like, you don't know these runes, like I can't believe it, and she was talking to her about the Darkhold book, and she's like, this is a dark magic book, by the way. There's a whole chapter of you, and you're gonna ruin the world. Yeah. Also, here's transfiguration. I'm McGonagall, like,
yeah.
Which never came back, which I thought it was for sure. I kept waiting for the bunny to be transfigured into what it actually is, but it never did.
That might be a future thing if they bring Agatha back.
Yeah, it probably, because that bunny's not a bunny, right?
It's a white bunny with short, like with sharp, pointy teeth.
Yeah. I also thought the rabbit. Well, I wasn't sure if the rabbit would be Ralph or if the rabbit would be
one of the kids at first.
Just some other like familiar type thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought we talked about it briefly. I thought it was gonna be like one of the kids or something like that.
Yeah, that's more what I thought. I thought the revelation was gonna be that fly and the rabbit was the kids that she transfigured. Like I thought that was the whole point of that scene, but it really was just to show that Agatha has skills.
Yeah.
And Wanda doesn't. Like
Wanda has just learned how to hit things with magic force as opposed to like.
Yeah. Speaking of Wanda's skill set, I loved that they went back to Ultron with her little like visions of like, this is your worst nightmare. Like, and she like looks like a ghost. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I was so happy they did that.
I love the scene where like she shot Agatha. Agatha absorbed it. And she's like, huh, fucking car.
Yes. Oh.
Yes.
That's what so that's why I was kind of frustrated with the witch on witch fight at the end.
Yeah.
Because like not only was the CGI kind of poor, but like especially the first time watching, like maybe when you rewatch and you already know what's gonna happen, it's more interesting. But like the thing with the car, I was like, okay, because I was wondering how she was gonna be Agatha, and it's like you have to be clever. It's like you can't hit her directly. You have to do these other things.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, cool. And then when it was the witch v. witch fight and it was just like lasers going at each other, I'm like, didn't we learn we can't do this? And like, technically that's when she's doing the runes. But I was just like, this is boring. Like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, because it made it seem like Scarlet had given up. She's like, fine, you want my power, take it. And it seems, but you knew as a viewer, like, okay, she hasn't given up. Something's going to happen, but you didn't know what. At least I didn't guess what at the time.
Yeah,
I'm sure some people did, but like I was like, she clearly hasn't given up, but I don't know what her goal is.
Right, and like, I think why I didn't guess the runes is because I thought for sure it was going to be one of those, here, take my power, and it's like she can't handle the power and she'll explode.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Is it she's just
that's what I thought was going to happen.
She's going to eventually like overload.
So I was like rolling my eyes during the fight. I was like, this is so stupid. But then she kept missing, and I'm like, Wanda, you are not doing this.
My first thought when the runes popped up actually was, how is Agatha flying?
Me too.
It was
actually, you know what's funny
like, wait a second.
Is because when Agatha took Wanda's power, I was like, how is Wanda flying?
Yeah.
And then when the runes showed up, I went, well, how's Agatha flying? Like, I literally went both ways.
Well, I just assumed since Wanda wasn't dead yet, she still had some, because the other witches just flat out died. Like the magic was their essence of life.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed odd.
So I was like, okay,
yeah.
But yeah, with the runes activated, I was like, why is Agatha still fine? I'm just like, and rune, woo! Like,
I guess you could say that Wanda was holding her up.
Maybe.
I don't know though. So. I mean, she did her little, and there was like a little spurt of purple. So maybe she still does have. You know, maybe you can control how much they can use, and she's like, you can use flying, and that's it.
Or it might be a matter of expression of power. They can't do any outward expression of power, but flying might be internal power. So she has power, so she can still manifest her ability to fly. She just can't put any outward force around her.
Yeah.
There we go. We solved it.
Cinematography.
I don't know though.
Can you imagine if the runes came out and then she just dropped out the sky?
That's what I think. That would be great.
Like,
Well, it's interesting because technically the runes were like already in place, and she was doing magic like Agatha. So,
I mean, there could be an activation.
So that, yeah, I mean, I guess. So, yeah, that's fine, though, because I don't need answers to this. Like, if Marvel was really like, we're going to explain every little thing, I'd be like, I don't need it. Get that hand away.
On a side note, good memory on Scarlet Witch there.
Yeah, because I would be like, okay, I need runes. What were the shapes again?
It's like one kind of looked like a T, I think. One was kind of a hashtag.
I was clearing photos out my phone because like every now and then my phone would be like, oh, by the way, you have like 8 gig of photos from whatever.
Yeah.
And I have so many photos of the chests in God of War where you have to set each of the things to different runes. So I was just taking a photo on my phone, putting it on the desk, and then like doing it and being like, okay, so it's the one that looks like a Y, it's this one, and then it's this. So like I would have been useless in that situation.
Yeah, right?
She was like handcuffed in the air in a dungeon one time with runes on the wall.
Paranoid about her kids going through memory trips. Like,
it's interesting though when you watch that scene. She is really looking at them.
Oh yeah.
Like you can tell that she's like, wait, what? And she's like, okay, and she's like really looking at every single one of them instead of being like, fuck, I'm in this predicament.
Yeah. Like, and I get that, but like, okay, for example. Like, and I know I'm not like the prime example of this. I've played a lot of Mahjong. Yes. A lot of Mahjong. I know what all of the Mon are 1 through 9. I could not just manually just draw them. Like 4 and 5, I can't, like, if you show me, I'm like, that was 4, that's 5. We were like, draw, I'm like, I don't know. Like 7, 8, 9 are fine. Yeah, 4 and 5, my brain was like, nah, they're both kind of similar-ish. And but I can look at them and immediately tell you that's 4, that's 5. Because 1, 2, and 3 is easy. It's just 1.
Yeah, interesting.
And then 8 is like kind of like a pie. Like the rest like 9 and stuff like that. Like those are easy. If it's 4, 5, 6 a little bit. I'm like, That's why like in that situation, I probably would have also been like, holy, like, okay, I didn't know about that. But then gone from memory.
Definitely. So shall we talk about the most controversial, because like that's like nitpicking, is the witch v witch fight, because it did turn out that she outsmarted her and all that jazz. Like,
real quick,
that's like a nitpick. Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, to this day, my favorite like wizard fight is still Sword in the Stone. Merlin.
Yeah.
Like when they're constantly training. Yeah. That's still one of my favorite wizard fights of all time.
Well, it's so helpful that it's animated.
True, but it's still so well done. It's all about trying to outsmart each other, changing animal shapes, and like it's really well done. All right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Controversial. What you got?
Sure, that's the Sword of the Stone reference you were making, because I was like, I don't know any other like Sword of the Stone movies. Right. I remember the cartoon. I was like,
yeah,
because it's all like they're like trying to fall on each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I suppose it's pretty clever.
It is clever. Well, and in the end, he turns into like a bacteria and just makes her sick.
Yep.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers for like a 30-year-old.
Oh, it's way older than that.
Is it 50?
It's like the 70s or something like that. Hold on.
Yeah. So I said 30.
I watched it when I was a kid, but
yeah.
1963.
I always liked the Harry Potter one.
So almost 60 years ago.
The death veil.
So
like
the
one where they're like fighting around I can't remember what it's called, but they're in the Ministry of Magic. It's got the big gate in the middle, and they're all on different layers.
That one's really good.
But apparently the way they did it was they like taught everyone fencing, but then they were like introducing like whip moves to it, but also like sharp shooting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just like the like almost the martial art to it was like
quite
cool.
I like that they implemented, especially like with one, in the very beginning, it's when Wingardium Leviosa, and they said you need to do swish and flick. So they like really implemented that there need to be specific wand movements, like to do a spell. And I think that's so smart because it does create like this like balancing act between I can just do magic and you have to do this specific magic and outsmart people.
Have either of you ever done fencing?
No.
So, freshman year of college, all of like the clubs, they offer like 1 or 2 like free sessions, so you can go and like learn stuff like that and decide if you want to try to join this club. So my friend Nate and I went to like as many as we could fit on our schedule, just like one-offs of like everything we could do, and we did like one day of like fencing, and man, fencing is complicated, and I don't mean hard in terms of like just coordination and everything like that. I mean, complicated. There are like 20 different types of parries and attacks depending on like the way you move your wrist and stuff like that. And like depending on what you do, you have right of way of attacking. Like you can't just score a point whenever. Like there's certain things like, oh, you've lost right of way. I now have right of way. Now you can score. And like, so when you watch a fencing match, and it's just like point, like 80 things happened in that 2 seconds. Like 80 things literally happened in terms of right of way, foot movement, the specific wrist twirls in terms of what type of parry, what type of attack. It's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Needless to say,
so they did that in Harry Potter.
Yeah. So.
But
right,
yeah,
controversy.
the Dumbledore v Voldemort fight in 5 is really good.
Yeah.
I do have to say. And that's because again, they're like outwitting each other and they're doing different things. It's not just lasers at each other. Lasers at each other is boring to watch.
Lasers at each other is very boring because they did the whole thing of like. It's like one of them like fires like glass at the other one, and then he like turns it to sand, and then like
and then he like fires it back, similar. And then it's fire, and then he does the water ball, and it's great.
Yeah, like you want to fight. Like Wanda throws another car, Agatha grabs like a small chunk of brick wall, flings it up to intercept the car, and like then like the chunks of debris of bricks and throws them at Wanda. Like you want like those cool interactions, not just like blue lights, red lights, blue lights.
Which one of the things they really capitalized on with Vision in the one when it was the Vision v Vision where he like phased the hand through.
Yeah, and then he like pulled him.
His hand. But then they spent like 20 minutes of it just shooting eye beams at each other, and then they did the Harry Potter beam thing.
Yes, I hate the Harry Potter beam thing. It's stupid.
Also, is there like a limited time frame that Vision can go just permeable? Like, why bother dodging? Why not just go full impermeable and go, all right, you got lasers.
Well, I would think in order to hit, you have to be solid.
Well, yes, but they've already proved that he can, like, subjectively do parts. So go full permeable, don't worry about the lasers, and just, like, undo, like, just the beginning part of your fist whenever you want to connect or something. Like...
yeah. I don't know. There's got to be some plot. Okay, I got 2 things then.
Okay.
Speaking of the Vision v Vision fight, because that was, like we said, a little bit more interesting than because like the phasing thing was really cool. I was just like, ah.
Yeah. And then the logic argument.
Yeah, and then the logic argument was like my favorite scene of the whole episode.
Yeah. The fact that they got so far through a physical fight, and he was like, "Wait, let's talk philosophy for a second."
I know.
Another vision, like he like stops and he goes like, "Yes."
Yes. I love when he's like, "What were you set here to do?" And he's like, "I need to kill the real Vision." And he was like, "Well, I'm not the real Vision." He's like, "I require more elaboration."
Yeah.
They like sit down. Someone brings coffees out. They like glasses on, like
they like get their books.
Like,
I love that though.
What's that quote? Like, you had my interest, now you have my attention. What's like,
yeah. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Yeah, that was that moment. He's like, all right, elaborate.
Yeah, and I was afraid what people were gonna think about it because it does. The risk you run is that it completely stops momentum. You know, to have this fight and then stop momentum and have a conversation. And so I was worried that people weren't going to like it because it totally slows down the pacing of the show. But it was the most interesting conversation. And it's obviously like the conversation that we, the fans, will be asking. Because when you have White Vision, who is the body of the original Vision, and yet you have the, color Vision, and he's the, like, essentially the soul of Vision. Like, which one is the real Vision? And so they, like, really go into it, and I'm just like, oh, this is so interesting.
Yeah. Body or soul.
I mean, you say about like because stopping the momentum, but like I feel because there's a lot of fights where like they'll stop in the middle way, and it's almost like they're tired and like they'll like insult each other or something, but like it's tension building.
Yeah,
right.
And I think that in this is what that did because it was him kind of saying to him like, well, okay, but what if I was to posit something? And then he's like, okay, sure, but there was always that tension the whole time of what if he just decides he's no longer interested, or is this going to be a solution?
Plus,
I think
nothing
was all right for a pacing,
and nothing's been resolved outside. So you still know there's tension outside and what's going to go. Like if if Wanda had already won and the kids had already won, and then we did that, then it would have just been a complete Hulk. Like, well, all suspension over here, all tension over here is gone. Like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it was cut in with the witch v witch fight, but to be fair, I thought that fight was boring. but it was funny. It was almost like the fight was intercutting the conversation. I thought the conversation was way more like tense and like interesting than what the fight was. But it like they kept the fight outside so that way you could have that, that way the pacing doesn't drop.
And
so it was really good.
I do appreciate the example they use for the thought experiment. I can't think of any specific examples, but I know there's been times with shows where like the main character puts forth like a conceptual idea and something like that. And I'm like, that's just a dumb idea. Like, it doesn't really fit the situation. You're like, nah, that's just kind of dumb, or like things like that. But this fit really well. Like, it was like, ooh, like I really appreciated like the reference and how well it fit this specific scenario.
Yeah, I loved it a lot.
And then where did he go?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he went to kind of find himself, which is funny, but like I think he did. He had to do some soul searching.
But like, he has all of his memories back. Like, what soul searching does he need to do? He's a computer. In theory, he could have several years worth of soul searching in about a half a second.
Yeah, but it's not as easy as ones and zeros. He's missing the soul part. And even though you have the memories, you have to kind of, and he knows he felt emotionally during those times. He doesn't really feel emotions right now. And so he has to kind of like reconnect with, okay, like, am I this person anymore? Because now I have all these memories and feelings of this person who wanted to be good. He wasn't a weapon. He, like that whole shtick. And I was in love with this woman. And it's like, and I cared for my team and I cared for the world. But I was programmed to do this. And now I don't really have that soul. I just have the memories of a soul. So now where am I? Who am I?
So I get that in the grand scheme of things. But my problem with it in this specific scenario is like, okay, Blindside and I are madly in love.
I believe it.
Yes.
I die, come back 2 years later, and Blindside is now with another version of me. And like, whatever happened, everything gets resolved. But someone is still trying to kill Blindside. I'm gonna stay and help that. And then when everything resolves, there's gonna be this awkward moment of like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, I'm not gonna leave in the middle of someone trying to shoot him to go soul searching, because now I have all these memories. I have these conflicted things, but enough of that's still gonna be there. And that was like his eyes changed and he had those memories. Like, this person is still literally physically immediately in danger right there. Like, you stay to do that, and then like when everything's resolved, there's that like awkward moment of like you stand there, you're like, I peace. Like, you have that kind of leap, but like he's not in the middle of everything.
Well, the person that is with him, though, like you just said, like he's with another version of you who has all that. Elliot's fine. You know what you're able to do. Like,
but at the same,
it's not like you're leaving Elliot defenseless. There is another version of you to help. Like, and since you don't feel the way about Elliot anymore, even with the memories, you don't feel that way anymore.
Well, we don't know that he doesn't.
Well, and I don't think he does.
Even if the emotions don't exist,
was the answer.
Even if the emotions don't exist, as a being of intellect and knowledge, there would still be that responsibility.
He's a weapon, though.
No more or less than he was before.
That responsibility.
I don't know. I don't.
I do know.
You don't know.
Well,
I do. You want to know how I know?
Sure.
Because he left. That was the answer.
So he got the memories and stuff back, but like we don't know whether, because like you can get memories and stuff back, but like necessarily like he might not even recognize them as like his memories. It's the experience of Vision, which he kind of is.
Right.
But like we're kind of like Platt's saying like, oh, go and like soul searching. Like probably if you have no memory of anything and then you suddenly have memory of everything, where it's not like you experienced it all. It's like you've suddenly just regained the ability to recall all of it. So then like it's probably a point of like, well, okay, is this me? Do I just have the like, because I mean, especially as like someone that's a computer, like you can just upload memories. You could probably make false memories and like put them into like an AI man.
Yeah, but if you put those memories in and you properly timestamp them, they are his past memories.
Well, no, because he would have the memories going up to not having them.
But it doesn't matter.
It's just like, suddenly I can recall all of this.
Yeah, but if he timestamps it, then it still reflects his past. Just timestamp the memories.
Yeah, but like, it's not necessarily his past. It would, like, if someone just implanted a load of memories into you, even if it was timestamped correctly, you would have the knowledge that those have just been put in. So you're like, okay, but like, should these change how I function? Like, should it change like your personality straight away if you just get memories like dumped into your brain? Like, would it change your responses to stimulus? Because like, that's probably something you're gonna have to come up with, isn't it? You're gonna have to be like, okay, how do I like file this? And it's probably quite overwhelming. Even if you say like you can do the processing in a very short amount of time, it's probably more of like a, how do I deal with this new stuff? Well, I can't do it in the middle of a fight.
I feel like he just kind of recognized like, okay, I have no role here then.
Yeah.
Like my role is somewhere else. Like, I was made to be a weapon. I was made to kill the Vision, but now I'm dealing with who is the real Vision. And even with the memories, I feel like I'm still not the ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
So I don't belong here, you know, so he just dipped.
Maybe he went to go look at the ship of Theseus.
Maybe. Wow. He looked at it and was just like, it's me.
That would have been a great extra end credit thing. Just him standing there staring at the ship.
That would actually been really good.
He walks up like, don't worry, old friend. I understand your plight. me and you have a lot in common. He falls in love with the ship of Theseus. And then the museum people won't let him take it away. So he creates an alternate reality where him and the ship of Theseus are going through stages of family
of grief.
sitcoms.
Oh my god.
So okay, so two more things about Vision then. Well, White Vision. It feels weird saying White Vision, Red Vision. I don't know why. It just feels weird. But anyway, so White Vision. So two things. One, why were, because they specifically were pointing on the dialogue that like Red Vision wasn't adding those memories. He was activating, encrypting, and stuff like that. Why were they still there? He's like, oh, you can't delete. Yeah, you can. You can specifically delete. That is a thing you can do with technology and information on a solid state thing. Like, Vision doesn't have the Mind Stone, so it's not like he can just like magically get this information. Like,
yeah, but it was really advanced technology. It's not like you're going to a folder and hitting delete. Like, this was made by Ultron.
But the thing is, even what's her name from Black Panther, she had the ability to go in and like redo all these wires and stuff like that. So it's not insurmountable for them to learn and understand and manipulate.
She's a part of an advanced technological society.
Correct.
And she's a genius in that society. I don't think anyone else could do that there.
So agreed. That explains the speed and ease in which she did it on a short notice. They had Vision's body for years. I find it unlikely that they wouldn't have been able to get a hold of someone with ability or knowledge to get to there eventually to delete within 5 years. Now, you can say, yeah, they didn't. Like, it just feels odd that they weren't able to, but they were still able to encrypt it and lock it, but not delete it. That sounds, to me, that feels like it'd be more complicated to encrypt and lock so that Vision can't access it. They encrypted it better than that version's skills, and it took the other Vision to do it. But they couldn't delete it.
Did they say specifically that they did that? That they just encrypted it?
Well, yes, but Vision said that it was like it's still in you.
It can't be deleted.
Right, because I was wondering if it was just from being like from what happened in Infinity War, like it just was kind of dormant for a while.
So like
as someone that's dabbled in coding, I can absolutely understand having a big system you don't really know how it works. You want to change what it does. Hide a load of stuff. Don't strip it out because you
just
can
just put in the comment brackets and just make it in the code, but not actually doing anything.
Do not touch
actually. You know what? Now thinking about it, they probably did want to keep it just in case this sentient weapon goes off. They would have a way to unlock it, and like that way he doesn't kill humanity. Because I thought it was really stupid making Vision the destruction of humanity. Like that was his original purpose as the Ultron. Like was, and I was like, what are you doing bringing this person back online? It's like, oh no, we can use him. And I'm like, he could easily kind of break those reins. So it would make sense to keep that just so that you do have the ability to unlock it. And that way it's like, well, that's like our last hope of maybe he'll come to his senses and won't kill everybody.
But then I feel like you'd want a kill switch, not just a memory unlock switch.
Well, considering the lengths that like Hayward would go, I don't think he would want to kill him.
And then, sorry, the other thing real quick with Vision is the confidence in which he was like, we just need to find the correct power source and activate a Vision. He said that as if they had already activated Vision, but it definitely seemed like that was the first time they did it. So that was said with the confidence of a man who knew he was going to kill anyone in that room who, if that didn't work and they heard his blunder. Like, he just had such bravado. We just needed the right power source. If that didn't work, he'd be like, well, you're all dead because I'm not going to let... That's just too awkward of a situation. I'm uncomfortable. I got to kill you guys. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it would make sense if you're talking about a computer and you have it all built. You need the power source.
Well, yeah, no, I understood. Like, it made sense that that's what they were doing and stuff like that. But, like, just the confidence which he, like, this was going to work. It sounded as if, like, Vision was already active and we were just seeing the power supply.
Right.
But I was like, okay, power him up. I was like, wait, so he wasn't powered? Like...
Yeah, I feel like that is so his character.
Yeah.
To just be so, like, this is it. I can feel it. And then, like, if it didn't work, I think he would have been like, I can't believe that didn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was so confident that was going to work.
I feel like you would have blamed them.
That's part of his...
This should have worked. What did you do wrong?
He's like, who messed up? Yeah, definitely. All right. So the most controversial thing of the episode, or the series, I should say, is that Quicksilver is nobody. he's an actor whose name is Ralph Boner.
Bonner.
It's Boner.
I love the idea that, like, so she just got a random actor who doesn't even look like him, but for everyone outside of it, they're like, but he's the guy that plays it in another thing. Like, that's kind of a bullshit move.
Right. So it's Marvel totally fucking with us, and it's not nice. Because I was like, okay, I was trying to, like, get this. So it was a part of the Hex, and technically still a part of, like, the illusion, but it's hard to tell because now we're, like, up to date. Yeah. But, like, I just don't understand why within the Hex it would show he was an actor. And so I was like, I feel like this is still fake. Like why would it show his real life name and his real life acting shot and his real life actor resume if this was within the Hex? So I still don't know if I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the point that he was, like, under Agatha's control? Like, he was never a part of the Hex.
Well, that was his house.
Like, that was his house in Jersey.
Yeah, like, oh, this is your house. Like, it wasn't Agatha's house. It was his house. He already lived there.
Yeah.
She found an actor and brainwashed him, which means, why do you need an actor then? You can apparently just brainwash him. And then gave him the powers of...
Yeah,
that's what I'm questioning, is I still feel like they can retcon it to be real, or to be Quicksilver from the X-Men, because I just didn't buy that his name was Ralph. Nobody's name in the show was their real name. Why would Ralph be any different?
I don't know.
So that's where I'm like, I don't know why we're buying stuff that happened in the Hex is real. Well, you know, kind of thing.
It also could be that, like, the interior of that house, Agatha, like, protected from the Hex some reason or whatever.
Yeah. Because definitely the basement was for sure not a part of the Hex. And you can tell because the screen ratio changes. But the screen ratio doesn't change in the house. So that tells me it's a part of the Hex. Where the basement wasn't. Because that was like almost like another
changed?
Thing. It That's sure did.
I mean, this is a level of paying attention that...
It sure did. Like, yeah, when Wanda's walking...
playing a video game.
Oh my god.
I can't.
You're playing a video game while watching WandaVision?
I can't just watch something. It's
Wanda, we're going to talk about this after stream again. You're in
timeout, mister. No, yeah, when she's walking down the when she's walking down the hallway into the Nexus or into the room, the screen ratio changes to be like real world essentially, because it gets like the 16 by 9. Yeah.
I would not have noticed that.
No worries.
I wouldn't have noticed that even though I was adamantly watching.
I didn't notice the first time because it was so dark, it was hard to see. Yeah. But then I noticed the second time. I was like, "Whoa, you're not a part of the hex." Yeah. Oh, baby, I love that kind of stuff. So yeah. But yeah, so that's what tells me like this story like isn't done. I feel like they're still gonna do something with it. I guess it came out. I don't know if it was leaked or it came out. I can't remember. But Marvel officially announced a movie called The Mutants that will introduce mutants to the MCU. But that's going to be like way down the line. Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to like retcon it in or what, but we didn't see him after Agatha lost power. And I feel like that's the most important. Yeah. Because she was possessing him. I don't think she was, because she said he was his eyes and ears, which means she didn't tell him what to say. Other than probably because he's an actor, she like gave him lines of like, this is your backstory, this is what I want you to get, and possession, go.
I feel like she had to be able to specifically need to control, watch, or do something like that. So that might explain the actor. She had to like give him free reign when she's doing other stuff, but I think otherwise she could like remote in and take control.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the only disappointing thing was like, again, it's like you open the door for something so big, and it's like it felt like Marvel to be like, okay, but we can't do that. Like, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna bring it on back because what if no one's seen the Fox movies? We don't want to confuse anybody. Like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. To me,
like,
it felt...
it's just a nod for the fans. And I'm like, no, you slapped me in the face.
To me, it felt like what we talked about a while back of, like, they're not going to make any drastic world changes on the show level. They're not. They'll tease stuff. They'll do, like, character development, stuff like that. But bringing him in from the X-Men universe is too big of a thing.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, Marvel, can you please just have faith in your audience? Like, we're watching everything, even on Disney Plus. They will find a way to watch it somewhere. Yeah. If they don't have Disney Plus, like, just you've already given your audience like the knowledge of watching everything until Infinity War. And trust your audience that they're gonna watch this for big reveals. Like, I want these shows to matter.
And of all the people who should understand, Disney should. They worked with Square Enix for all of the Kingdom Hearts games, and those were plot all over different consoles, generations, years. Like, they didn't give a fuck then.
They did not give a fuck. And me, as a fan of the series, did not play all those other games. I only played 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. Like, you trusted your audience that even if they won't do everything else, that you just give them enough information of what happened in those other games and you just continue on. You just accept what's happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I think it's just that. I think they have fun. They want to tease stuff. They want to reference stuff that's going to happen down the line, but they can't actually do it at the show level. Yeah. And like it feels bad. I wouldn't doubt like if WandaVision wanted to do those things, and like Disney as the company, like no. Like, you want to tease stuff, fine, but you can't make any of those big changes.
I do think that they could retcon it later, but right now it's like it's just such a letdown. Yeah. It is such a letdown.
All right, so we're getting close to when you gotta go. So the final scene with the two Wandas. Is that actually?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Is that? I can stay until 11:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're good.
So is that actually two Wandas? Like, did she split herself to do that? Is that just more of like an astral projection?
I think it's an astral projection. In a la Doctor Strange when he would do it.
Okay. Because like
he would be sleeping and then still like studying in his astral projection form. For those who don't know.
Yeah, but he was sleeping. Did he ever do that while he was awake?
The one shot that I saw, he was sleeping, but I feel like any time where you're doing something, but you can kind of have your mind doing something else, like making a cup of tea and drinking it, I feel like that's the same as sleeping. I mean, I know it's not the same because obviously when you're sleeping, you're totally out of it. But like anything where you can kind of zone out, like I feel like, and if you have magic abilities, like you would be able to do it.
So that was just a quick little interesting. So stronger than the Supreme one, maybe.
Yeah, because didn't Agatha say that? She said you're meant to be stronger than the Supreme Sorcerer. Which is funny. I totally forgot that Doctor Strange's title was Supreme Sorcerer. So I was like, who the fuck is that?
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, Sorcerer Supreme. Sorry. Yeah, I was just like, what?
Only Sorcerer Supreme.
I was like waiting for I was like, well, who's that? You know, kind of thing. I totally forgot that it was Doctor Strange.
I like the idea of you're like the aspect ratio change.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange.
Well, to be honest, Doctor Strange is probably the one that I've seen the least, like out of the whole MCU. There's like a few of them that I've only seen like once in theaters and then once to rewatch it for Captain Marvel. That was like it. And so those are the ones I know the least. Okay. And obviously, as time goes on, you have more opportunity to rewatch the earlier ones than the later ones. So I just haven't seen it, and I was not paying attention, and so it was funny.
I will say, like, and I don't know a lot about like Scarlet Witch's characters in the comics, and again, comics are weird, so she has probably 80 different backstories. But like, this feels a bit Jean Grey to me.
It does.
It feels very
similar.
Very Dark Phoenix. Like you have powers, but you have this evil entity in you that is trying to destroy the universe, and like, it feels very that to me.
It does.
And I don't know if that's actually part of her.
They do it better.
And like, I don't know if that's actually part of her character's backstory, or if that's just like them adding a bit of panache to.
So I've been reading some of the comics. I literally looked up a Google list of like what comics would I get the gist of Scarlet Witch, you know, kind of thing, like her main arcs. And so I've been reading them, and I haven't gotten there yet. I think this is more of a modern arc of this Scarlet Witch being more than what it seems. Because like before she was just called that, and then
because she liked to wear red.
Does get yeah, and she has like magic mutant abilities. Because like her whole thing was like probability, so it's like she, you know, her probability hex of like if it has a 0.0001 chance of happening, she could make it happen. And
which is my favorite thing from any Final Fantasy game.
And when I was talking to Sneaky about it, I was like, wow, it seems like the Scarlet Witch thing is like a lore, like within like mythology. And he made it sound, because I don't want him to spoil things for me, but he made it sound like, it like that is a thing in the comics of like there's something else in there. But I don't know if it's Scarlet Witch is like its own thing that like goes into her the way the Phoenix Force goes into Jean Grey. Yeah. Or if it's just her name is Scarlet Witch and she's destined to do something bad and it's not necessarily an outside force.
Yeah.
I hope it's that one because that's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Than just like, I'm possessed and I can't hold it even though I'm literally the most powerful being ever.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. I'm curious what they're going to do that.
Yeah. I wonder how far they'll go with the multiverse. Like, because we keep, like Yam said, you know, in the chat, like they kept hinting at it. Because we know she's in Doctor Strange. We know the title is Multiverse of Madness. We have rumors of Spider-Man.
Which supposedly have been kiboshed.
Really?
Like none of the other Spider-Men are in it. It doesn't mean they won't tackle the multiverse to some degree, but like Tobey Maguire and them aren't actually in it.
But is that a lie?
I don't know.
They've lied to us in the past.
Maybe. But the current trending thing is that was incorrect.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be because I mean, eventually you have to, right? Like, if you resolve everyone's storylines, you have to multiverse it. Like one of my favorite things that they ever did in the X-Men universe was like they killed everyone. They had a series where they killed everyone, and then they got to the end and they were just like Universal Arbiter was like no, and then just put it back.
Yeah.
And like eventually you just have storylines that you'd be like, wouldn't it be neat if these two characters were like mortal enemies and we just make them duke it out? It's like, multiverse it. Just multiverse it. It's fine. So like eventually, like they're gonna get there because they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna need. They're not gonna get to the MCU and be like, well, everything's nice and neat here. Wonderful. We'll just dust that off and new series of things.
Yeah, I'm wondering it. So if that's true about Spider-Man, I'm gonna call it right now that this multiverse storyline is going to then like begin and end with Doctor Strange. Like it's not going to change the MCU as we know it, where they can kind of bring in anybody at any time. Like it's gonna open where it's like crazy, and then it's gonna close, and they're gonna be like, "But this is our canon." And if we do bring in people from the Fox universe or etc., then it's like they're in our universe now, and like that's it. And we're not gonna like be
that's 100% what I think is gonna happen. I think in the Doctor Strange, it's gonna be that like because of all the events, there's like 2 or 3 universes that are like very close, and they just keep like they're causing some kind of weird interference, and he's gonna do a bunch of stuff to like coalesce and merge them, and then they'll just be like, oh yeah, no, Wolverine's here. Like, what do you Wolverine? Oh yeah, that thing that way back when, yeah, he's here now.
Yeah.
I think,
and then like that's gonna be it, and it's not gonna have like lasting effects the way it should.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that. I'm a little bit sad because I mean it can leave itself open for a lot of like cool things in the future. At the same time, I'm a little bit happy because I could tell you for a fact there'll be several movies that'll Deus Ex Machina multiverse as the solution at the end of the movie. Or like they'll just throw that in there as just the phrase of the movie of multiverse that explains everything. Multiverse that explains. Multiverse that's how we solved it. Like they'll just do that, and I'll be like, that's so that's why I have mixed feelings.
That's lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just man, that really disappoints me about Spider-Man. I hope that's not true. Because I want like lasting effects, you know, and I think it would be interesting to do that. But that's kind of how I felt about WandaVision, was like, this is going to have lasting effects. Like, how is this going to affect Winter Soldier and Falcon, which from previews is not affected at all by what's going on in WandaVision. And then it's like, very obviously it's tied up with a pretty bow, and that's why nothing is affecting nothing's affecting Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang.
I mean,
I kind of wanted it to affect.
In all defense, though, a lot of the movies have had like their thing was self-contained. Like, it's not terribly common. Like,
no, but this was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. But like, I mean, in theory, so is the first Avengers with aliens invading the world. But like, outside of references and callbacks, that seem to have surprisingly minimal impact on humanity and society as a whole.
It affected the well, technically, it led into Spider-Man, which was really cool that they did that. Like it was like how it affected normal people.
Well, yeah, like they referenced and stuff like that, but like still, like humanity as a whole was surprisingly not that impacted by like aliens invading.
You got the Avengers, we're fine.
So like,
and it affected the politics of it, but it didn't affect like.
So at the same time, why I'm on the same page with you, I would have liked WandaVision to be a bit more daring in how it affected the universe. But at the same time, it's not exactly un-Marvel to like tie it all up. Like,
yeah, I just hope as things go on, like I hope the beginning of this show and people's reaction to it, which I would say at least in my circles, it was pretty positive. The like first half of the season, they were like, I don't know what's going on, but I love it. This is so interesting. What a different direction that Marvel is going. I'm hoping Marvel sees that and goes, okay, we're kind of able to do different things.
Yeah.
And people will like it. And like, cause I want the just flat out like horror genre in there, even though I don't like horror, but I want them to be able to do all these different things with different characters in order to tell the emotional character story.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be able to do things that maybe I don't like, so that way they can like have a fleshed out experience. But they're just not there yet. But I hope they do get there. I hope this is a learning experience for them.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I 100%. The question is, will they do a second season of WandaVision? Because like,
probably not.
Yeah. Like there's some things like this doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a second season. Like they've hinted at like that idea, but like I can't imagine like how you continue.
Yeah, I was telling my other friends, like, WandaVision as a title is so specific to this story. I just don't see it being a second season. Plus, the title of this episode was the series finale.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, they could have a second season, like a spiritually second season that's just not called WandaVision. It could be Wanda. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could.
Oh yeah, but then it's something else, isn't it?
Well, that's why it's the spiritual sequel.
Well, okay, but that's not WandaVision season 2. That's a different show.
That's what's next.
But I mean, will they do that? Do you think they'll continue Wanda's storyline on the TV side as opposed to like movie side?
Oh, I don't know. It just it depends on what the story is. Like, do we need more time and people to breathe? Okay, just put it on a TV show. Do we need just only 2 hours to tell the story? Put it in a movie.
Yeah.
I think it opens options. Like, I think it's very plausible that her next thing is a movie instead of a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think probably, yeah. They'll do something that will like it will wrap up like what she's got like left to deal with now. But I mean, you don't need a series for that because the whole series is just going to be like, oh, we just had this wacky adventure. Now we want more wacky adventures. Whereas if you do a movie, it can just be like here's problem, find solution. Like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this was TV shows are always meant to, especially if you have a beginning, middle, and end planned. It's meant to like give room to breathe so the character arc can be really fleshed out. And like so this was her origin story that we finally got.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't really know her as a character. She was always like the B story or the C story or sometimes even the D story or like a plot device, and now she got to be a character.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll do that for, you know, especially like now Winter Soldier and Falcon. It's like I don't really know these people. I know Bucky's been here since the beginning, but like I do not know this man at all. And so we'll finally get to like know them as characters now in this TV show.
I have significant less hopes for Winter Soldier for Falcon and Winter Soldier than I did for WandaVision. I worry that the Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be too generic action.
It does seem that way. Like I'm not excited, but I am going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean I'll watch it too.
Like, just the fact that they went, oh, we've got all these characters we could do spin-offs for, and they went, these two probably put them together. Like, there's really not enough individually. We just squeeze them in. They're loosely linked to each other, kind of, through the universe we've created. They
were supposed to be the first premiere show, but like all of the early like testing and stuff like that, it was abysmal. No one liked it. The screen, the scripts were bad. Like the test footage was bad. Like it bombed. So they like went back and redid it all.
Oh, it was way smarter to open with Wanda.
So that
it's so intriguing to have the opening of your Phase 4 like this. Like this was so perfect.
But no, they were planning on it to be Falcon and Winter Soldier because they're the better known characters of the three.
Yeah.
And had more time and more presence.
Yeah.
So they thought they would be the stronger thing. It just did not do well in their early work, so they just redid it all.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of solidifies what I'm thinking is going to happen in their show. Like from the little previews that I've seen, because if you know me, I don't watch advertisements for things I'm already going to watch. So from the little things that I saw, I was like, okay, so it's going to be like a buddy cop adventure.
Yeah.
All right. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's going to be that and wrestling with the mantle of Captain America.
Right.
Because I don't think either of them takes a. Oh, I mean, based on the trailer, I don't think either of them has the mantle. I think the government like creates a de facto like icon, and those two are just kind of like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah, I saw that there's like another Captain America. I was like, who the fuck is this? You're not Captain America. He gave his shield to somebody. How did you not respect that? Rude.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I'm not excited, but I'm definitely obviously gonna watch it and be like, cool. I'm like way more excited for Loki. Like even though I know that one will have probably like no like especially considering WandaVision. That one will definitely not have any repercussions on the MCU as a whole, even though he's going through time. But I find that show like it's so much more fun and just like let loose and
yes, agreed.
You know, I'm like so excited.
I agree. I'm more excited for that one because it leaves the room open to be different and be fun and just be wacky kind of fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not to say that like Falcon and Winter Soldier can't, but their characters and backstories don't set up for that.
Yeah, they're much more like I think it'll have good action sequences.
If
it doesn't have good action sequences, then you really miss your mark. Like
because like 90% of Falcon and Winter Soldier's characters up to this point has been there's a problem over there. Apply firearms in that direction until problem doesn't exist.
America time. Just peace through superior firepower.
Yeah. So like that's most of their characters' stories up to this point. So I think the show is going to try its best to expand them, which is good. You should. But leading up to this point, there's not a lot there to work with. Where Loki is just Loki.
like
we already know him.
He could change sides at any point,
and you support him every time.
Well, in the Poetic Eddas, like which is like the like Norse mythology stuff that was translated in Iceland, like there's stories where Loki is like 3 characters who are all in the room at the same time because they're just like fucking who knows. So he just like there's so many of the stories where it's just him fucking with people.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's one where most of the story is him arguing with another character that's also kind of him. And it's just like why not?
Yeah, I'm excited for that one because that one, you know, like going into WandaVision, I was like, okay, this is gonna be like be about Wanda, you know, kind of thing. We're gonna get to know her so much more. And then like with Loki, it's like, well, I feel like we already know him. Like we know his character over the movies, so this is just gonna be like, here we go. This almost feels like a season 3 of Loki. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we're like there and we know the format, and it's like, okay, let's go. Let's see what happens.
Wait, it feels like you're about to get on the roller coaster. You're like, all right, it's gonna be fun. Let's see what's gonna happen. Like, ready for the ride.
Yeah, like you know the road trip movies where it's like they're going through like different countries, the different states, or whatever, and it's like a different adventure. It's just Loki, but instead of traveling, it's time. And he's just like, we're heading to this.
It's a road trip movie with time.
So it's Doctor Who, but Loki.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's gonna fix no problems. He's just gonna go around.
He's actually gonna make everything worse.
Just tweak bits for his own amusement.
Well, he'll fix some problems. Like he'll fix this person's problem. He's created 30 more over here, but that person is better off. Nailed him.
Yeah, it's a good time. So overall, though, I'm assuming we liked WandaVision. That's kind of it seems like the overall consensus.
Yeah, I mean, overall, there hasn't been a program for a while that has got people like discussing the way that we've been discussing on WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which, if anything, at least like, because we spent weeks just theory crafting stuff.
Oh, it was so much fun.
So like other shows, like I really loved the first season of The Boys, Carnival Row, Umbrella Academy. But like I feel like if we had done those like weekly, like, oh, so this episode, all right, 10 minutes later, all right, well, we discussed that episode. What do we want to talk about? Like, as much as I loved them, they were very clear cut what was happening and stuff like that. Where this had a lot more room for the entertainment,
especially the week to week format.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I like literally Outlaw Viking, a friend of mine asked, he was like, so no spoilers, but like, what'd you think of the finale? And I was like, I'm honestly so genuinely sad that it's over, that it's kind of messing with my perception of like how I felt about the finale. Like, cause it's like over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so disappointed that it's over. I don't want it to be over.
The problem with any medium book, TV show, movie, any. It is really hard to write a satisfying ending, especially when you have a lot of mystery and theory crafting leading up to it, because we spend so much time analyzing everything, looking for the answers, and like sometimes that wasn't even a mystery. The answer was just the blatant thing in front of you. So you get to the end, you're like, but what about this? What about that? You didn't explain that. There's a writer going over there. What do you mean I didn't explain that? That wasn't the thing. Like, so it's really hard to make like a purely satisfying ending sometimes. And like, so was this ending flawless? No, by no means. There's a lot of little things. As a series, did it still do well and end well enough? Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. Agreed. But it was a fun ride. And I'm really glad that they're willing to dive very seriously into subjects. Like, obviously, this was a lot about grief and loss. And that's not the easiest subject to tackle or ask your people to go into. And so I'm really glad that they were able to do that, and they did do it so, like, committed. You know, that was the one thing that they committed to was, like, let's go through like grief and loss and see how a superhero deals with this, you know, because if a superhero deals with it, you can deal with it, you know, kind of thing. Like, so that was really cool, and I hope they do like the fun stuff is fun for sure, and there's a time and place, and I want that as well because it's all about balance. But like, I hope they do deal with other subjects that are a bit more harder to process.
Agreed. Oh, real quick, I loved that moment when she went to where the house was supposed to be and like created Vision, and there's that brief moment of, wait, does that mean she didn't steal Vision? What the fuck are you?
Dude, that
was
was
that brief
nuts.
moment. I was like, wait a second.
Wait, I thought she just like bundled him up in a sack or something and like went off with him.
Right?
That's
like the whole
what they
time
told
I
us.
thought that.
Yeah. So then that happens, and you have like, wait a second, he still has Vision.
Like honestly, out of everything, that was the thing that I was like, holy crap, Wanda's really powerful.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the one thing that I was like, oh boy. Like out of everything, I was just like, yeah, whatever, magic. And then like that, I was like, oh, that's whew, that was a lot. Because like the whole time, it didn't feel like Wanda's perception of Vision. It's like it really was like Vision. But then at the end there, she says that you were my hope, my despair, and my love. And I was like, oh, so it was her perception of Vision? I'm like, oh.
I mean, yes and no.
That way.
Yeah, like the thing is, it was kind of that, but like once she manifested him, he was its own thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So like she used all of those in her to create him. But now that he was created, he was his own thing.
His own thing, yeah. Her kids are still alive, like the fuck? Yeah, so that kind of opened it up for the multiverse. What Yams is referring to is the end credit scene. After the mid-credit scene, did anyone flip out?
Wait.
Because you had to watch more credits. Did you guys see that at all?
Wait, there's more.
Yeah, because we were talking about because there was the mid-credit scene, which was... Oh, is that Wanda? Was Wanda the mid-credit
scene? No, the mid-credits one is Rambo going to be going to space.
Okay, so it was, so the mid-credit scene was Monica, and then after the credits was Wanda doing the astral projections.
Yeah. So wait, what do you mean the kids are alive?
Well, we heard her kids yelling for her, and then she closed the book.
Oh, I thought she was like having a breakdown or something. I thought she was going through like a grief thing.
I have to go listen to that again.
Of children gone.
Oh, it's definitely her kids going, "Mom, Mom," and then she goes, "What?" And then that's how it ends.
Oh.
Maybe
I didn't think that meant that.
What am I even talking about this show with you guys? Get out of here! What do you mean you didn't know? Okay, not noticing the aspect ratio. That's fine. You didn't notice.
You forgot who Doctor Strange was. Okay.
That's the title. Who cares? They'll explain it in multiverse. Hold my hand, Marvel.
See, to me,
I thought you're gonna be like, oh no, because in the post-credit scene, if you freeze it in a bit and then you zoom in on this one screw and then you buy this $100 program, you can clear it up.
Her kids are literally yelling, and in the subtitles it says, "Mom, Mom, give me milk."
See, I don't know. I didn't think that they were alive. I just thought that was some kind of effect of the projection, something like that. Like I didn't think that meant they were present.
Yeah, I basically.
I mean,
thought it was
she's
like,
hearing them.
Yeah, I thought she was. That's why she was going through the book. She was like, I can bring them back if I get this power.
Yeah,
and then she like, you know how sometimes it's like you hear the distant screaming of war and it like you 1,000 yards stare it out. I thought it was like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I did. That's how I read it too. I didn't think it meant they were literally still alive because a couple things. One, when Hex went, that house was gone. Those kids were gone. So
yeah, exactly. That's why there's questions.
Recreate the kids. So why didn't she recreate Vision?
Well,
like,
so there's
because she doesn't know about White Vision.
Oh yeah. No, sorry, I was thinking about something else. So yeah, so there's the one line where she says, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom."
Yeah.
Which was a very odd line. That was odd.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that either.
Because I was like, "What do you mean? You created them? Like, why wouldn't they choose you?" Like, what? So that kind of leads to, because if she created Vision with all those three things, you know, but then he was kind of on his own, like, how did she create these kids? And so there's a theory, I don't know how valid it is, but there's a theory that essentially, like, their souls were from somewhere else, you know, kind of thing, and they were their own thing, like, that's how they had powers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Ralph had powers.
Yeah, but but that's Quicksilver.
No, that's Ralph.
No, it's Quicksilver.
Mr. Boner.
What's that? Mr. Boner. So I think they were their own thing, but they were just in this hex power, you know, kind of thing. And then of course with her being in Multiverse of Madness, I think it's obvious she's going to be looking for her kids.
So back to Ralph.
Okay.
So they comment he's an actor.
Yeah.
And if you're an actor, if you have any kind of weird name or something, you change it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that is his acting name and he's a porn actor.
That's what I was going with. If he's an actor, he's going to get rid of Bonner or Boner because it's going to lead to problems. If he chose that, he's a porn star.
That's awesome. Can that be canon?
Imagine you're just like,
that's so
well,
funny.
We need to find the only actor, and they're like, well, there is Ralph, but he goes by Ralph Boner now.
Well, because that's the other part is he
has an amateur Pornhub page.
Name. Yeah, his films. He's an actor. He doesn't speak to his parents anymore.
That's the thing is like, she tries to confirm his name. She's like, your name is Ralph Boner, and he just laughs and says Boner. He's like, Boner. But he never really confirms. He's just like, that's a stupid name.
Canon, he's a porn star. That's why Agatha chose him. Agatha's like, I've seen your work. I like it.
I still don't believe that that's his real name. That doesn't make
sense. It's
not.
It's his porn name. We just decided that.
Yeah, but I don't think he's an actor. Nobody had their real job.
It takes a lot of skill, okay? He's still an actor. God, you're just shitting on the porn industry left and right here, Platt. Now we know how you feel.
That's the porn I watch. Shitting on porn.
That's a different kind of scat porn. So.
Talking about Mephisto, bro, I'm so over the Mephisto rumor. Like, honestly, I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna pull something that dramatic from this. Like, because they would have to, like, retcon a bunch of stuff to get Mephisto. Like, if you're like, oh, okay, because in the comics, Mephisto helped create her kids. So that's where people are pulling from. Like, so if they were, like, introducing Mephisto now, I don't know. I'm just like, I mean, I guess.
At this point,
I'm just so over, like, the rabbit's Mephisto, the fly's Mephisto, the curtain's Mephisto, the dog is Mephisto. Like, I'm done.
At this point, I don't think they're introducing Mephisto here. If the kids are more of what Blindside and I were thinking of, more of like Echoes and stuff like that, she might reach out to Mephisto later and finish bringing them back or something.
No, that I would believe.
But yeah,
I think is interesting.
That I think is the more likely than he was somehow secretly involved in this process.
Yeah. I think all the answers for this is like pretty much done.
Yeah, no, I think we have pretty much all the answers. I don't think there's any more mystery. I think everything else is just surface level what it was. Ralph the porn star.
Yeah. I'm so mad about I'm like so like, oh, you guys are like, I would understand that if you're gonna literally recast him, then you would pick Evan Peters. Like, I get that, but I'm just like, you guys are assholes.
I really want them to just like start cameoing him in just other stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
He just turns up and everything. And everyone's like, multiverse, and then he's just like an extra. He's like a trash can.
Yeah.
He's like behind the desk in a library. Like he's
He's
like
the
a
new
restaurant they go to, and they're like, "Do we know you?" And he's like, "I mean, you guys are the Avengers. If we met, I would have remembered." And then they just like never mention him again.
Oh my god.
He's the new Stan Lee.
Well, and the other thing is like, if it was, oh my gosh, that would actually be really funny if he was the new Stan Lee. He just keeps making these cameos. Because like it would be one thing if Multiverse of Madness like wasn't a thing. You know, like the next movie was something else and we knew the title and it had nothing to do with multiverse. It would be one thing where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we were thinking they were going to bring the multiverse in. But it's like, we know they're going to bring in the multiverse. Well, so to do this is so stupid.
But the thing is, with the multiverse, if let's say it's a merging of the universes, they become one, he fixes whatever, becomes one. It's not gonna, like, let's say there's 3, for example. We're not suddenly going to have, 21 plus billion people on the Earth. So if his person is X-Men, so if there's a merging of the universes, he's going to become that person. There's not going to be 2 more of him existing on the planet.
Oh, I didn't think that's what they were going to do.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying they could still have him be the Quicksilver and stuff like that. Because, again, they're not going to just multiply the population of the Earth. If the universes are going to merge, it's going to be...
I was thinking that they were going to have a problem, and obviously the channels or whatever are open to the other universes, and in order to solve the problem, they inadvertently or through adventure, because they're switching universes, they kind of like pick up people to help them along the way.
Yeah.
And then when they close the boundary, those people from other universes are now stuck in our universe. That's kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. Okay. Not that, like, I don't think they're going to merge, but they're going to, like, close the gateway or whatever. And then the people who are here are just kind of here. Like, they had to make that sacrifice. And so that's what I thought they were going to do.
They could. My prediction is still some kind of merging, some kind of, like, it all comes together.
That would make more sense if you wanted to try to pull characters like down the road instead of trying to pull all the ones that you want to use right now. Like that would make more sense, because then if they merge, it's like they're out there in the world, but we just have to find them.
Yeah, they can just reference them whenever they want, because they're just there now.
And then they can show up like 6 movies later and be like, oh yeah, I was in England this whole time.
Yeah.
And our stories never meshed. So yeah, that makes sense.
So,
but we'll see. I'm like, I gotta bring back my expectations. I thought Marvel was ready to make risks, and now I'm like, oh, I guess not. We're still in Marvel land.
The show in itself was still a risk. They just didn't make the risk of affecting the universe. They just made
they made one risk. I thought the risk was, power 100, and the risk was more power of 20.
Small baby steps, Platinum, baby steps.
Yeah, because like even it was funny. I was watching a cartoon reaction thing, and like he was saying that episode, what was it, 4, when they kind of like gave a bunch of information because it was only the outside world.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, like kind of giving that whole sword side. He was like, I don't know why they did that so early. He's like, they should have done that episode after Vision went outside the Hex and found Sword there. Kind of thing, to like let you stay in this sitcom world for that long, and then when Vision goes out, he learns and we learn, and then like the next episode is episode 4, where you kind of fill in all the empty spaces of like what's happening. And I was like, that would, but the way people were reacting week to week, like I don't think people could last that long.
Yeah,
like,
agreed. I think a chunk of the audience who is just kind of curious but isn't dedicated fans would have tuned out of it before that came up.
And it's just a shame because I think that is technically more interesting.
Yeah.
Because like as you go on, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are the answers? You know, kind of thing.
I think that's part of the reason that they did episodes 1 and 2 as a dual release.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is because again, if we had to wait for a full month before we got to that point, they would have lost a lot of people. But that first one coming out, still, it just feels like one long episode. Then you have a second episode, and you're kind of like, next week you're like, what is happening?
And it's black and white, and there are people who go, I don't like watching black and white things.
Yeah.
So it's like you release them together, and the next one will be color. We promise. We will end the second episode with color.
Yeah. So I think that was, and again, there's a team of people behind the lines analyzing, guessing, and trying to maximize these things. And I mean, in the long run, I think they were successful. Like,
I think they were successful too, but that's what I mean by like I thought this was going to be like a 50 to 100 risk.
Yeah.
And they really went with like a 20% risk. You know, they're like we're going to throw people a curveball. We're going to unapologetically be this sitcom. But don't worry, if you hang with us one more week, we're just going to give you all the answers. Like, and I'm just like, oh geez, like you really. Yeah, but I have to remember that like Marvel's literally the biggest thing ever, and people who don't like superheroes are watching these movies, so you need to cater to all these different fan bases. I just wish we get to the point where we don't need to do that.
So real quick, so my friend was talking about Paul Bettany. How do you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
So like before this all came about, like he had a string of not great movies, and like one of his agents had like dropped him. And like he's apparently was like outside, like sitting on a curb or a bench, just being like, "What am I gonna do?" Then one of the agents called, like, "Hey, you want to do some voice work?" And now here he is.
Hey.
It was just like his career was just kind of like, uh oh. I was like, "Hey, you want to do some voice work?" Yeah, I guess I need something. Woo!
Yeah, it's nuts. Like I'm rewatching the MCU, and like you get to Iron Man, and that's him. You hear his voice. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, like his character is like really, really interesting because he's been around for so long and he's been through all these different iterations. Yeah. It's like really fun to watch and rewatch. So. And now we have White Vision, which is different from the other Vision. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with him.
Never be out of work again. They're just going to keep making visions.
Man. Yeah. I don't know where I want that to go, but I don't want it to keep being White Vision.
I think it will.
They'll qualify him after episode 3. It's fine.
Yeah, because people can't handle it. Like, oh God, he's ugly. What do I do?
So.
Yeah.
I hope they change that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. I don't think they will, though. I hope not. I kind of want, because the whole thing is I want there to be stakes. Like, Vision died.
Oh, no.
I would like that to remain.
I not like the character. The literal phrasing and look being White Vision.
Oh, why does that bother you?
Because I feel like it leads itself to too many white comments.
Yeah. I mean, so technically, it is the character from the comic. Like, I don't know if that's a real character from the comic.
No, I do. But, like, I still, I don't know. It makes me uneasy.
Yeah. He makes me uneasy. He looks like frightening. Like when they like introduced him, I was like, dear Lord, especially because it's like the body of Vision and Vision.
Yeah.
And then to see him look like this, I was like, oh my God, what did they do to my boy?
I'm like, why did they bother spray painting? Like, what was the purpose of that?
Because he looks so scary. I don't know. Probably because they like were literally like decimating him. He needed a new paint job.
I know, but who's just
buff it out? It's fine.
But like, I feel like they just like they weren't really ready for him to be like road going yet. They just like put that layer of primer on. Like, all right, we got the primer on. Once this dries, we'll put in the actual colors. And he's like, no, I need him now. Power him on. I'm like, really? Like,
probably, actually, you're probably not wrong. Like they were just like, all right, we'll paint him whatever color like we want, but right now we literally have the power source and we need him right now to get through. So they were like, just do it. Yeah, you're probably right.
But All right, you gotta go. It's 30.
I gotta go. But thank you so much for the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Hold on. 8 is the button. Boom. Say who you are. Say where you're from. Blindside, you can go first.
I'm Blindside.
Hi, my name
I'm
is
from Twitch. You wanna go, Plat?
No, go.
I don't mean do you want to go. I mean do you want to go. You want to throw down.
I want to go. So let me outro. No, go ahead, Elliot. Go.
I'm Blindside UK on twitch.tv/Blindside UK and twitter.com. Is it .com /Blindside_UK? Where I mostly just post gifs of a weasel.
Ooh,
Desk
very
weasel.
nice. My name is Platinum Trophy Wife. I'm on Twitch Monday through Friday starting at 12. And I also am releasing my Last of Us Part 2 playthrough that I did back in May. That's completely first and blinded. I have it on there on my YouTube, and so it's gonna be hard to find. You put in Platinum Trophy Wife, and you get some weird results. But I promise I exist.
Do you?
You do, because it's like, did you mean Platinum Space Trophy Wife? And it's like you get like reality TV of like the trophy wife stereotype, and so
Gotcha.
it's a good time. But just make sure you really did mean no spaces, and you'll find me. Make me popular so that way my search engine is okay.
I got you, your Last of Us 2 reaction, and then I got the GGWP episode you're in.
There you go. Perfect.
Nailed it.
Problems.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that it's like, did you mean? It's like, yes, I did.
All one
mean.
word.
Yeah, all one word. But I'm there, so that's good.
All right. And I'm Grey Wolves. You can find me here. You can find me at Twitter at Wolves1226, and you can find me on YouTube. I'm not reading that out again. I did that last stream. Go to there, find the URL. It's really long. But
unless you're watching this on YouTube, in which case you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can find me here. So
you put in that full URL from last episode.
All right, well, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.